Welcome to Executive Leaders Radio, your spot in the corner office, the radio show where executives share their secrets to success. Executive Leaders Radio.
You're listening to Executive Leaders Radio, broadcast from the Philadelphia law offices of Obermeyer. This is your host, Herb Cohen, with my co-host, Shannon Lane, Newmark Knight Frank, Matthew Shapiro, Obermeyer, David DeStefano, and Morgan Dumont, Exude, and Jim Rogers, Hafley Flanagan. Morgan, Shannon, can you please give us a rundown on who we have on the air today?
Sure, Herb. We have a great lineup today. We have Michael Conti, CEO of Agora Cyber Charter Schools, Joe Tredinnick, Market President of Philadelphia and South Jersey Republic Bank, Andy Schwartz, Managing Partner of Bleakley Financial Group, and Ed Hipp, President and CEO of Ed Hipp Foods.
All right, let's get to our first guest, Michael Conti, CEO of Agora Cyber Charter School. Michael, what is the Agora Cyber Charter School?
Agora Cyber Charter School is a public K-12 online charter school, virtual charter school.
And give us some statistics about it.
Agora's 6,300 students, 700 staff members, and about $100 million in revenue.
Where are you from originally?
Western Pennsylvania.
How many brothers and sisters?
One older sister, one older brother is now deceased. I was the baby.
You're the youngest of three, huh? What was it like growing up in your neighborhood when you were a kid, 8 to 14 years old?
It was sort of idyllic. We had there were a lot of kids around. We played in the street, and it was a great time.
What was your role amongst all the kids that were playing?
Not really as a leader, that's for sure.
What were you like at that time?
Probably a little more introspective, not necessarily always in with the crowd.
What was okay, so if you were introspective, I'm trying to figure out what's the benefit of being introspective as a kid 8 to 14 years old, and what's the benefit to your being the CEO of Agora Cyber Charter School, which is now 6,300 students and 700 team members?
Well, I think being introspective helped me understand who I was as a person, and of course transferring that information over into my role as a CEO. I think it's important for me to understand who I am so I can help my staff understand who their place in the world and how we help our students.
Do you really think that because you got to know yourself that it really helps you be the CEO?
I do.
Why?
I do, because I understand my own strengths, my weaknesses, things that worry me, things that scare me.
Wait a minute. Should you be talking about your weaknesses and what scares you and all that other stuff? Do you do that with your staff?
I do. I think it's good to be honest, and there are. I think we're in a human business where we deal with students, and there's you can't remove the human element from it. And I think understanding and sharing what makes you human is part of it.
Perfect. Matthew.
You told us before we went on the air that in your neighborhood with all those kids, there were some big kids beating up little kids sometimes. How did you participate in that?
Yeah, well, I never participated. I was usually the kid getting beat up.
And so what does that have to do with who you are today?
Well, because I can understand that there are... particularly in my business, there are students who don't always fit in. They're often bullied. They're often marginalized, disenfranchised.
And how does running a cyber charter school help those kids?
Well, it allows them a safe space in which to learn where they're not faced with those pressures.
David?
You talked about being introspective. What did your parents do?
My father was a steel worker for 47 years, and my mom was a homemaker. So
what do you think you bring to your role today that comes from your mom and your dad?
Well, my father was extremely hardworking, very soft-spoken man, very quiet. Unless he and my mom were yelling at each other in Italian. My mom was the epitome of integrity, always honest, and I think that's what I bring.
Mm-hmm. Shannon?
Michael, I'm just curious, did you enjoy school as a kid?
I did not. Although there were certain subjects I did enjoy, I can tell you that the overall experience probably wasn't that great.
So what are you doing now to make a difference?
Well, with my school, I think it's important that we show our students. We help get our students to their passion, and once they find their passion, we can then direct them to the certain path they need. A lot of kids don't like math, but if you want to be a doctor or if you want to be an auto mechanic, you need to understand that you need to learn math. So it's helping them understand that they have to overcome those fears and to finally get to where they need to be.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that if you help me identify who I really am and what I might really enjoy doing in my adult life, that's going to give me a goal, and then I understand why I have to know the stuff that I have to learn?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's pretty profound. Jim?
I understand you like to read when you were younger. What would you like to read?
I often read, particularly Sherlock Holmes mysteries. I like mysteries because I like to solve. I kind of like to solve the mystery myself.
So how did reading Sherlock Holmes and solving mysteries help you in your current role?
Well, it certainly taught me how to look at problems and find various ways to solve those problems.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, Morgan, did you have a question there?
Yes, you mentioned in the green room you had a biology teacher that you were really inspired by. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that helped you, change your perspective on school?
Sure. My biology teacher in 9th grade was Mr. Bradich. And as I said in the green room, Mr. Bradich, if you're still alive and listening, I want to thank you because you led me to a marvelous path. He would take me aside often, just have individual conversations with me, and just kind of say, come on, you're smart. You can do this stuff. This is nothing for you. And really, it was that building my confidence and helping me understand that to meet any goal that I had, I needed to do this, and it was a blessing.
To meet any goal you had, you needed to do what?
I needed to work hard, and I needed to learn. I needed to get an education. I needed to have that education.
And he gave you confidence that you could get there.
Absolutely.
How did he give you that confidence?
By just helping me understand that I did have the skills, and I just wasn't always that motivated, and he helped motivate me.
So you're a cyber charter school, so you're online.
Yes.
So do your students get that kind of input, feedback, support?
They do.
How?
We've got, of the 700 staff members I have, 450 are Pennsylvania certified teachers, and they teach live classes every day with those students. So they're in those classrooms live every day, working with kids, helping them understand how important it is to get an education.
So I'm getting it's live, except I'm doing it online.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. Well, you married or single?
I'm married. 30 years.
30 years. Do you have any kids?
Yes, one daughter, 28 years old.
Uh-huh. What's the similarity between being a dad and being it says here you're the CEO of this cyber charter school with 700 employees. What's the similarity?
Well, for me, I think I taking care of my daughter taught me how to take care of my staff. It's important that they get the same care and respect and have the dignity shown to them that I would show my own child. Is they're valued members of the team, and I care as much about them as I do anything else.
Mm-hmm. I guess the benefit being the CEO of this large organization, 700 people, $100 million, 6,300 students. You got a big staff. You get to go in late, like 10, 11 o'clock, have a long lunch, leave at 3 o'clock, no weekend, right?
I wouldn't say that. In fact, I just had a 2-week vacation in the Mediterranean. I worked every single day.
Wait. You were on vacation, so that was planned.
Yes.
But you worked. Why would you do that?
Because I have a responsibility. I can't. You just can't unplug. I purchased the Wi-Fi on the ship. I purchased the overseas cell phone because I need to be available. Not because I want to micromanage, but because it's important work and I can't be disconnected from it.
Uh-huh. Did you feel resentful that you had to do that work?
Absolutely not. I enjoy my work.
Did you get paid extra for doing it?
Absolutely not.
Well, why'd you do it? You were on vacation.
I care about the mission of my organization, and I want to see it succeed. And for that to happen, I think I need to be available to my staff.
So you didn't get paid extra, and you were on vacation, and you felt the responsibility. Did it feel like work?
Not really, no.
Wait a minute. You're on vacation and working, but it didn't feel like work?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because work is fun for me. I enjoy what I do.
What do you enjoy about what you do?
Because I know that what I do every day has some impact, even some small impact on the lives of the 6,300 students that I serve, and that's very satisfying to me.
What's satisfying?
Knowing that I can have some small impact on their lives, helping them see that an education is important, helping them understand that they need to set goals, and then helping them get to those goals.
Well, what's the website address to this organization known as Agora Cyber Charter School?
It's agora.org, agora.org.
We've been speaking with Michael Conti, CEO of Agora Cyber Charter School, here on Executive Leaders Radio. Don't forget to visit our website. It's executiveleadersradio.com. That's executiveleadersradio.com. Learn more about our executive leaders. Back in a moment, right after this break. What's your name and what organization are you with?
I'm Paul Visoki. My company is Stony Hill Advisors. We're an M&A advisory firm.
An M&A advisory firm. So you're helping business owners sell businesses, buy and sell their businesses.
Correct. I look at the fact that I help them access their wealth.
Where are you from originally?
Pittsburgh, PA.
And how young were you when this characteristic showed up? What was going on?
I was 18, a sophomore in college. My father passed away, and I determined to make my way on my own without any dependency on my family. I'm the oldest of 6.
Your oldest is 6. Well, you had a lot of responsibility. Isn't that what you're doing in terms of your merger and acquisition activities, helping business owners? You're really taking responsibility?
Correct. I have a responsibility to my clients because many of them are looking to retire, and if I can't help them access their wealth, they'll never get there.
What's the website address of your organization?
StonyHillAdvisors.com. Stony was S-T-O-N-Y, no E.
StonyHillAdvisors.com. We've been speaking with Paul Visoki, President and founder of Stony Hill Advisors. We're back. You're listening to Executive Leaders Radio. This is your host, Herb Cohen. We'd like to introduce Joe Tredinnick, who's the market president in Philadelphia and South Jersey for Republic Bank. Joe, what is Republic Bank? What are you guys up to?
Republic Bank is a local regional bank headquartered in Philadelphia, 29 locations, $3 billion in assets, 600 employees.
Wow. And where are you from originally?
Haddon Township, New Jersey.
So that's like South Jersey?
South Jersey.
And how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I'm the youngest of 6, and 8 years between each of us, the oldest to youngest.
Wow. And so 8 to 14, what were you up to? What were you doing?
Well, being the youngest of 6, my father working full-time, multiple jobs, my mother staying home, I needed to, if I wanted something special, a new pair of sneakers, such as a pair of Nikes, I had to go out and make money. So I was mowing lawns, I was working a paper route, anything I could do to help save and get things I wanted.
So being the youngest of 6, there wasn't a ton of money going around, I guess, and you realized at a young age if you wanted something, you needed to work for it.
Absolutely.
What'd you do different than the other kids that had these that had the paper route or was mowing lawns? What were you doing different?
Well, I was one that would do both. So if there were kids actually out doing it, and most of the kids in that neighborhood weren't doing it, I was the only one doing it, I would add both, a paper route as well as mowing lawns.
Well, what's that have to do with your role as market president, Philadelphia and South Jersey for Republic Bank?
Sure. For me as a kid, getting things I wanted and setting a goal really has formed me to help realize the goal. If I needed something or achieved something, I'd have to go out and hard work to get it done.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood. Jim, what are you thinking?
What type of sports did you participate when you were in school?
I ran cross country, a short stint of football, as well as track.
What did you learn from cross country in particular?
It was me versus myself. So it was me and the pavement, and it really taught me my intestinal fortitude to work hard to achieve the goal, to finish, and to beat myself, to beat my time every time I would go out there and run.
How does that help you today in your banking business?
To work hard, to set goals, and to be determined to see the goals through, not stop halfway through the race, but to keep running through the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like in your house around the dinner table?
So it was a lot of fun, actually. It was a lot of chaos. 8 people around the dinner table. That was an important time for the family. My mother stayed at home. She cooked, Italian upbringing, so she cooked every meal basically from scratch. So for us, dinner time was a time where we sat, we ate great food, and we often argued, but I got to listen to a lot of point of views from my brothers and sisters and different perspectives on all things going on in their lives.
How does that help you in your dealings with issues when you're at work?
Yeah, so around the dinner table, just growing up at the youngest of 6, it's really, for me, has trained me to listen, to understand, not just to listen, to reply, but to really understand perspectives and people's different individuals' inputs and opinions.
How about that, David?
Let's go back to the lawnmower. Where did you get the lawnmower?
So at first I used my parents' lawnmower. When that broke, I had to save or use the money I earned to buy a new lawnmower. And I wanted a white Lawn Boy lawnmower, so that was the goal. And,
why a white Lawn Boy?
I couldn't tell you why. I don't know. It just was a cool-looking lawnmower.
So what does that experience have to do with running a bank today?
Yeah, so really what I do, I'm fortunate enough in my job every day, I meet with business owners, and I hear their goals and really try to see where I can assist them in whether it's a loan or help them save to achieve their goals, whether it's a white Lawn Boy or a piece of real estate.
Mm-hmm. Shannon?
Joe, who was somebody that you looked up to as a kid?
So my family certainly was a big influence on me, but I had a next door neighbor who was elderly gentleman, and he was the school board president at the time and very well educated, and I really looked up to him, and he took me under his wing and mentored me.
How did he take you under his wing?
He would talk to me. He talked to me about my education, the importance of continuing my education and working hard, and to set goals. He really mentored me.
And what about him was it that you looked up to?
So he was 6'5", so I literally looked up to him. But he was the school board president, and he volunteered his time, and he's very well educated. So for me, there was attributes that I admired, especially the volunteer aspect, that he didn't need to volunteer, but he used his time to volunteer.
And how's that affecting the way you run your bank today?
So really, for me and the bank, it's about being part of the communities we serve and not just taking from a community, but giving back and volunteering time, talent or treasure to any organization where we can be helpful.
Mm-hmm. Matthew?
So 6 kids, 8 years apart. Tell me about your relationship with your siblings.
Yes, so 3 boys and 3 girls, so it was a good combination. The Brady Bunch, but not really the Brady Bunch. Maybe the so with each brother, with each sibling, I had different relationships. My oldest sister, probably the closest relationship, as she kind of took me under, as the youngest, as the baby, so to speak. But what that really taught me is to understand everyone's perspective and have relationships with each different types of personalities, and to get along with and understand people.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the hand-me-downs.
Yeah, so growing up as we did, being the youngest, I got the great fortune of hand-me-down clothes, whether it was my brothers or my sisters. So I would, in middle school, would be very common for me to wear powder blue corduroy jeans.
Mm-hmm. Morgan?
Hi. So you mentioned, obviously, relationships are really important to you. Can you talk a little bit about how your relationship with your children has helped you out at work and where you are today?
Sure. I think children are a great lesson for leadership, and very fortunate that they test me in that leadership category. And really, it has helped with my upbringing and my children. It's really understanding their perspectives and pushing them and challenging them to think big and go after their goals, and to not settle for anything less.
Let's see. I thought that the way you figure out whether to make a bank loan or not is give me the numbers, the answer is yes or no, and we're done. But something tells me you're not built that way, because you keep on talking about your relationships. So tell me what the truth is about making a loan. So for making a loan for a Republic Bank and for myself, it is about relationships. It's understanding what each individual or business owner or customer is trying to accomplish and helping them achieve those goals if possible. So that comes to listening and understanding their plan, not directing them on what can and can't be done.
Mm-hmm. I want to go back a second ago. You said your kids taught you about leadership. That's not the way it's supposed to work. You're supposed to teach your kids. What were you talking about?
Well, they challenged me in leadership. So
how do they do that?
Well, as most children do, they always test boundaries and test your ability. And
so how do you react to that?
So I try not to react. That's a great question. So I don't try to react. I try to respond versus a reaction.
What's the difference?
A reaction might be me yelling versus me listening and understanding where they're coming from and responding to that.
Mm-hmm. David?
Does trust matter in banking today?
100%.
So thinking back to your lawnmower days, I'm fascinated with the lawnmower. Besides the white lawn boy, how did you earn the trust of the neighbors to cut their lawns?
So for me, it was really to show up when you said you're going to show up, to be there on time, and to do a great job, to take pride in everything you did, whether it was sweeping, mowing a lawn, edging, whatever it was in that job. The attention to detail was important.
What did Mom and Dad do for a living?
So my mother was a homemaker, and she cooked. She cooked and cooked and cooked, and she still cooks. My father was a production director for a local newspaper called the Carrier Post for 30 years.
Mm-hmm. What'd you get from?
I was going to say he worked multiple jobs as well.
Well, with how many? Let's see, 6 with 8 mouths to feed. I bet I bet he did work hard in order to keep things going. What did you get from Mom? You bring to work every day as the top dog at the bank, and what do you bring from Dad to work every day?
Sure, my mom, the empathy is something that I learned through my mother, and attention to detail. When you're preparing a meal, there's a lot of detail in that. So I've really took that with me as well, and still carry with me. My father, hard work. He is head down, hardworking, honest, integrity. So integrity and hard work from my father, I learned.
So what's the best part of your job? It says here you're the market president, Philadelphia and South Jersey Republic Bank. What's the best part of your job?
There's so many great things about what I do. I do love what I do, and it is getting to meet new people every day, whether it's a business owner or an individual, and to hear what their goals and aspirations are and try to help them achieve that.
So you really enjoy meeting with folks and understanding who they are and what they need. So you have to understand a wide variety of businesses, don't you?
Yeah, if I was good at my job, yes.
And I guess the other part is it's really understanding the people, though. I mean, what's more important, understanding the business or understanding the people?
So I think it's important for any business, and what I've learned, businesses, there's a quote, businesses rise and fall on leadership, and it's really about the individual. And the getting to know the individual and who they are and what they're about, and the things that we've discussed today, their background, is critical to understanding your business.
Website address, the Republic Bank?
Republic Bank, myrepublicbank.com.
You've been speaking with Joe Tredinnick, Market President, Philadelphia and South Jersey Republic Bank, here on Executive Leaders Radio. We're back. You're listening to Executive Leaders Radio. This is your host, Herb Cohen. We'd like to introduce Andy Schwartz, managing partner of Bleakley Financial Group. Andy, what is Bleakley Financial Group? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're a registered investment advisory firm. We manage assets and do financial planning for individuals and businesses.
Give me some statistics about this firm, please.
Firm's over 100 people, 7 offices around the country, managing a little north of $6 billion.
And in terms of wealth managers, where do you rank in terms of the country?
Yeah, right now, if you took our size as an independent advisory firm, we're probably somewhere around 25th, according to Barron's, when you look at the numbers.
That's a pretty substantial firm you've built. And how many brothers and sisters?
So 1 twin brother and 2 younger siblings.
A twin brother and younger siblings. And how young were you when your mom gave birth to you?
Well, so my mother was 16 years old, and my father was 19 years old when my brother and I were born.
16 and 19. And your parents are still married?
Correct. They're still married, and obviously I'm very lucky to be here.
So you grew up, did they have a lot of money? Did you have a lot of money when you were a kid?
No, money was never an issue because there was none, so that was easy.
So, David?
Andy, how young were you when you started making money?
So my brother and I were natural partners, probably 6 or 7. We moved around quite a bit early on, lived in a bunch of apartment buildings. First was a 4-story walk-up. We would take out people's trash and charge them for that.
Did you do anything else?
Oh, yeah, we did everything. We got off the school bus. We collected bottles. We had paper routes. We painted houses. We cut grass. We shoveled snow in the winter. And we used to pray for snow, so that we could shovel people's sidewalks. And then we got a little bit more sophisticated, and we started painting houses, having our friends work for us, wash windows, until we went to college.
Wait a minute. This is pretty significant. I mean, you and your brother really put your nose to the grindstone in terms of hard work and making money. And I'm wondering if that money meant safety to you back then. I think it probably did. And isn't that what you do for a living, is help others benefit from some of the stuff you've been through so they don't have to suffer the same way?
Absolutely. I mean, a good advisor has to be a leader, because people need leadership. And you have to really impress upon your clients what they need to do in order to secure their future. So you have to come from some foundation to be able to help people do that.
And you've lived it. I mean, you've gone from rags to riches. You know what the game is.
Yeah, it's a blessing because growing up the way we did just makes me appreciate so much what we have today. So it's been a great ride.
What do you mean it was a blessing growing up? You grew up with nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And so to me, I'm grateful for that because if I grew up differently, and I would have less appreciation for hard work, and I'd also just have less appreciation for what I have today. Because every time I go home, every time I go down to the beach, I look and I think, wow, I can't believe this is mine, and I really am grateful for it. And I think if I were raised differently, then I probably would not have that same appreciation.
And isn't your twin brother your partner now?
He is, yes. So I have three partners, but one of my partners is my twin brother, Scott.
Okay, Shannon.
Which was also a blessing.
Andy, in the green room, you were talking a little bit about your three daughters. Yeah. What have they taught you that you bring with you to work every day?
Yeah, I think that having the girls being responsible for other people, for the three of them, really helps me help my clients understand their responsibility for their own families because it's not necessarily natural for everybody. It doesn't make them bad. And so I get to take that to work every day and really help them be better providers and create security for their own families because I have that sense of responsibility.
I have a question. How do you instill the values you grew up with coming from nothing to your daughters today?
I think the only way you can do it is by example. I mean, it's really hard. They've obviously grown up differently, so they don't have the same blessing I have because they have everything that they need. But at the same time, though, they've watched their dad work really hard, and I continue to do so. And I think they understand the correlation between hard work and what we have.
Jim?
Your relationship with your mom and dad, what did you learn? Because particularly since they had you at such a young age.
Yeah, I mean, resilience, tenacity. My mom actually, obviously, she was in 10th grade when I was born. She went back to school having 3 children at the time to get her high school equivalency. Then she went back to community college for like 3 years, and then she went back to Trenton State College, graduated with a 4.0. It took her like 6 years. And then she taught in Mount Holly for 25 years. So that was a really tremendous, journey to watch and to really appreciate. You could do anything if you really put your mind to it.
Your mother graduated with a 4.0.
She did. She was I guess, cum laude for her grade or her class at Trenton State College. Yeah.
How do you know that?
Because she told me all the time, and she would always be upstairs studying at their door and say, "I have to study. That's how I keep my 4.0 average."
And how are you like your mother?
I think that, I don't know. My mom's probably smarter than me. I think I'm a natural overachiever, but, I want to do the best I can, and I'm willing to do what you have to do to do that.
Matthew.
So you had all those things going where you were making money. What were you doing with that money?
So we were always saving for something we wanted or needed. I mean, my folks pretty much provided for needs, but we needed a bike, or I wanted a bike. I wanted Pumas, the white with the black stripes. Then we needed a car, so you had to buy a car and pay for car insurance. And then we always wrecked our cars, so then you had to pay for the repairs in the cars. So those are the kind of things we were saving and spending for.
So you feel that growing up from rags to riches was a gift, huh?
Absolutely.
And give me that again. Why?
I mean, it's on every level. When you learn how to work, work to me isn't work. Work is what we do. And I love to work. I mean, I love to not work also, but it isn't like it's a chore because it's what I've always done. And there's a correlation between how hard I work and what I'm able to earn and achieve. And if someone gives you something, how do they steal that from you? And then when you get to the end of that and you have everything that you wanted, you can so appreciate it because everything I have today is for the first time. I didn't have any of that when I was a kid. And so that's
could you financially retire if you wanted to?
Yeah, I could.
What time did you start? What time do you start work in the morning?
Usually up around 5:45. Get my workout in first. Get to the office. I'm usually home by 6 or 7.
What time do you stop work at night?
6 o'clock is the earliest. If I have client meetings, could be 8 or 9.
So sometimes you're working from 6 in the morning till 9 at night, but you don't have to. What's wrong with you? What are you doing here?
Well, my kids are grown, and I enjoy my work, and it's it would be a shame and a waste to me to not maximize the opportunity that I have like anybody else.
So you really enjoy your work. What is it about you? What do you enjoy about your work?
I mean, all aspects. I get a window into so many different professions. There's a million ways to make money, and I've seen almost all of them through my clients, helping them not only with their financial needs but their personal needs. It's just
what do you mean their personal? Oh, I guess because you're reviewing their financial picture, you're like their trusted advisor.
I'm their trusted advisor. I'm their therapist. I know first about every good thing and every bad thing, and it is. Sometimes it's a lot of responsibility, sometimes it's heavy, but it's an honor for people to trust you and to be a confidant.
And you really enjoy that.
Love it.
So why is this firm one of the largest in the nation doing what it does?
Because we put our clients first, because we are grateful that our clients give us the opportunity to serve them. And I think if you wake up every day feeling lucky and a little paranoid, right? Because there's lots of people out there that can do what we do. So I wake up feeling both every day, and I think my partners do as well. I think the rest of it takes care of itself.
You ever made money not with your brother as your partner?
No.
Have you?
We went to college together. No, we've always been partners. Always.
And you said before that was a blessing.
A blessing.
Tell me about your relationship with him.
Well, so I have a trusted partner. He would never, do anything that wasn't in my best interest. I trust him implicitly. We don't always agree, and the same for him. And everyone doesn't have that. Sometimes we're lucky enough to get married and have a partner like that. I was born with one, so very fortunate.
So sometimes you may not agree, but you know he's doing stuff in your best interest. I don't. How does that make sense? If he's going to disagree with you, he may think what's in your best interest isn't necessarily what you think's in your best interest.
Yeah, we don't always agree, and he can be a real big pain in the neck, But I know he's always.
So his instincts might be a little bit different than yours, but you know that his motives is the right motive.
100%. And he's smart. And listen, I'm not always right, so it's good to bounce things off because sometimes someone needs to tell you when you're not right, and there are not a lot of people in the world that seem interested in doing that.
So you allow yourself to be regulated by your brother, huh?
Well, I allowed him to help.
What's the website address of this organization?
My email address is andy.schwartz@bleakley.com.
Give me the website.
Yeah, Bleakley, Bleakley Financial Group.
How do you spell that?
BLEAKLEY.
And it's
financialgroup.com.
Bleakleyfinancialgroup.com. All right. We've been speaking with Andy Schwartz, managing partner of Bleakley Financial Group here on Executive Leaders Radio. Don't forget to visit our website. It's executiveleadersradio.com to learn more about our executive leaders. That's executiveleadersradio.com. To learn more about our executive leaders, we'll be back in a moment right after this Business Spotlight. Want help building your business with help from this show's CEOs? Our CEOs can help you uncover more opportunities, grow your sales, connect you, help you raise money, all the big issues, because our CEOs have been there and done that. They've succeeded in creating millions of jobs and earning millions of dollars, and some are available to advise you. Now, email mentors@executiveleadersradio.com. That's mentors@executiveleadersradio.com. The same CEOs you've heard on the show for 10 years may be willing to help you build your business, uncover new opportunities, grow your sales, connect you, help you raise money, all the big issues, because our CEOs have been there and done that, succeeding in creating millions of jobs and earning millions of dollars. And some are available to advise you. Now, email mentors@executiveleadersradio.com. That's mentors@executiveleadersradio.com. We're back. You're listening to Executive Leaders Radio. This is your host, Herb Cohen. We'd like to introduce Ed Hipp, President and CEO of Ed Hipp Foods. Ed, what is Ed Hipp Foods? What are you guys doing?
We manufacture and distribute beef and turkey products. We specialize in beef and turkey products.
Beef and turkey products. All right. And how large or how small is the firm?
Well, it's not a big firm. We only have 11 employees, but we work with, my partners are 4 manufacturers, and each one of them employ 50 employees or more.
And where are you from originally?
Philadelphia, West Philadelphia.
So that's the row houses and stuff, right? It's row houses?
Row houses, yeah.
All right. And Matthew?
Ed, how young were you when you started making money?
12.
And what did you do when you were 12?
I sold fruit and vegetables, to customers
from a store?
No, from a truck.
Just a truck out on the street?
Truck out on the street.
Who ran that truck? Whose truck was it?
Actually, a guy named Sam. Sam went around and got kids out of the neighborhood to talk to people and sell pears and apples.
How'd you get your job with Sam?
Just asked him for a job, and I was what he needed. And after working a couple of days, after working that day, he hired me on permanently for the summer.
And what did you learn from working with him?
Well, actually, I learned how to approach people and talk to people and how to be honest with selling a product. If it was 12 pieces in a basket, I wouldn't have 11.
How did you learn that? People come up to the truck and ask you questions?
No, I just learned on my own, just talking to people and just learning how to do.
And did they all just show up at the truck, or did you have to go find the customers?
No, we had to knock on doors and introduce what we had, the product that we had, and they would either want it or they wouldn't.
Did you enjoy doing that?
I love doing it.
How come?
It was fun. It was something new to me. I was 12 years old, and all of a sudden I'm making a few dollars a day. And I'm introducing the products and showing people things and talking to people that I never talked to before. And I think it took away some of my shyness.
Ed, does that have anything to do with what you're doing today?
Yes, I would say so, because of it encourages me to sell. I like selling, and I like to be on the honest end and telling people about products that they don't know anything about.
On the honest end, what does that mean?
Well, being honest with people, giving them a fair price, sharing prices with them, and letting them see the difference between a good price and a bad price.
But I thought salespeople. I don't think salespeople are honest. But you're telling me that you like selling and you're honest. What do you mean by that?
Well, there again, I think it's the way I was raised. I was raised to really put things right on the line, and I'm very uncomfortable with products that I don't have. There was a time that I was selling something that I found out later on it wasn't doable, and I wasn't comfortable with selling it anymore. I can't sell something that's not on the legit.
Mm-hmm. Shannon?
Ed, what did your mom do for a living?
My mom was a laundry. She worked in a laundry. She was a folder.
And tell us a little bit more about her and what she was like.
She was a very humble person, and it learned me to be humble, and I just think that she was a very good person at that. And I try not to be too humble, because I think at times she was a little too humble.
And what about your dad? What did he do for a living?
My father worked at a steel company. He was a chipper.
And tell us a little bit more about his personality.
As I said earlier, my father was strict. My father was a strict person, but he was, he really put it on the line. He taught you how to be strict, but he was a very honest person, I would say, at the same time.
So
those are things that was instilled into me.
So what part of your dad do you carry with you today?
I think the strictness, absolute, things would have to be where I could see them right on the line. I don't like people to play games with me, and my father was definitely one you couldn't play with.
Mm-hmm. David?
When it came time to name your company, why did you name it the Ed Hipp Company?
I named it Ed Hipp because there was time I sold other products, and people was telling me that I can get beef sausage at so-and-so place, and it only cost me so-and-so. So I figured I put my signature on it and had it developed the way I wanted it. The only way you can get an Ed Hipp product, you had to get it through Ed Hipp.
Does that honesty that you talked about earlier,
yes, it did.
Did that have an impact?
Yes, all the way. That puts the signature on the product itself.
So how about the employees in the company? Do they feel differently working in an organization whose founder has his name on the wall?
I think as long as they got a job and they're in a pretty good position, and once again, being honest and teaching them how to be honest with sales and everything, it works out pretty good.
Mm-hmm. How old is this company? How old is your company?
I've been in business for 44 years.
Do you have anybody that's been with you more than a couple years?
Yes, I have a guy, Bernie. Bernie's 75, and he's been with me now for about 22 years.
How about the next person?
That would be Michelle. Michelle's been with me for about 14 years.
Oh, my gosh. Why do they stick with you like that?
I think it's because I'm fair, honest. And those two particularly makes a pretty good salary.
Why do they make a pretty good salary?
They're honest, they're dependable, they come to work on time, they're never late.
So you really appreciate your people, don't you?
Very, very much.
Where'd you get that from? Where'd you learn that from?
I think I just learned that throughout time and working at the different jobs that I worked at. I've seen that was a very important part. Matter of fact, how I basically got into business because a guy knew that I would come to work even when I was sick. So that plays a very important part.
Why would you go to work if you were sick?
Well, first of all, I needed the money. That was one of the things. And then I wanted to make sure that job was taken care of well. I didn't want nobody else to mess anything up.
Wait. Yeah. But you were sick and it was somebody else's company, but you went to work anyway?
Yes.
Why?
Devotion.
Devotion?
Devotion. I think it had to be devotion.
What's devotion mean? I don't know.
I really liked that. I was devoted to that particular job, and I really wanted to be a person that they counted on. Actually, they knew I was going to be there, and they knew that I would have to be real, real sick not to be there.
Devotion. Mm-hmm. So this is not something. This is not a word I normally hear in terms of business. Where'd you learn that?
I guess it just came with me. And just seeing the different people who were devoted to the job and seeing people who wasn't. And I knew right away that your employer really depended on the person who was devoted to their job.
Jim?
Did you learn most of that in your childhood? Because it seems like you're so comfortable being the face of your organization, driving customers, your employee relationships.
Yeah, I think I learned that early on. Just watching people and seeing how they react to people who are, more devoted to their job. It just came out on a positive end. You can see positiveness, and from that I got that was a positive move.
And you enjoy your work, it seems.
Yes.
In a tremendous way. I mean, it seems like you really like going to work every day, interacting with the employees and the customers.
Well, it has its moments, but most of the time I really enjoy it very much.
Was it mom or dad that was devoted? Was it mom or dad that was devoted?
Was it my mom or dad?
Devoted. Who was devoted, mom or dad?
I would say it's both. Both my mom and dad were very devoted people.
Tell me what you mean. What are you talking about?
Well, they was right to the point, and my father particularly was very strict, and he kept you going no matter what. And if you did a job, he wanted to make sure you stuck to that job until it was finished.
So sometimes people that are strict are devoted? So strict can be devoted. Strict is not necessarily a bad thing. Strict can be coming from devotion.
Yes, I would say in this case, being strict was strictly.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Because usually when you hear somebody strict or disciplined, it's a bad thing. But it sounds like in your dad's case, it was a good thing.
Well, I'll put it this way. I didn't see it as a kid. Him being strict was beneficial. But as I got older, I could see, well, he really kind of had to be a little strict, especially in certain neighborhoods that if it wasn't for his strictness, I could have turned out to be a whole different person.
What's the website address of Ed Hipp Foods? What's your website address?
Ed Hipp at edhippfoodsinc.com.
edhippfoodsinc.com.
No, Ed Hipp at edhippfoodsinc.com.
We've been speaking with Ed Hipp, President and CEO of Ed Hipp Foods, here on Executive Leaders Radio. Shannon, can you give us a rundown on who else we've had the opportunity of hanging out with today, please?
Sure, Herb. We had a great show today. We had Michael Conti, CEO of Agora Cyber Charter Schools, Joe Tredinnick, Market President of Philadelphia and South Jersey Republic Bank, Andy Schwartz, Managing Partner of Bleakley Financial Group, and just now Ed Hipp, President and CEO of Ed Hipp Foods.
I would like to thank my co-hosts, including Shannon Lane, Newmark Knight Frank, Matthew Shapiro, Obermeyer, David DeStefano, and Morgan Dumont Exude, and Jim Rogers, Hafley Flanagan for giving me a hand structuring the questions, hopefully providing our listening audience an educational and entertaining show. I'd like to thank our listening audience for listening. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a radio show. Don't forget to visit our website. It's executiveleadersradio.com. Learn more about our executive leaders, executiveleadersradio.com. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.